Hey guys, this is Bridget, and today I want to do a walking video. It's so pretty down here and you get to see the blue sky, and that's wonderful. So I know a lot of you enjoyed the manifesting video last week, and I want to go deeper into that. I've wanted to for so long, and this video will probably turn into a Facebook Live and then probably like an online workshop, something like that, because I want to go deep into abundance. Because right now in our economy, we know it's probably going to crash. It'll crash. It's just eventually going to happen because the way that our system is going, the currency isn't backed by value, and inherently it needs to. It needs to be backed by resources. It needs to be backed by people's value instead of just debt and non-gold and these other things that it's just made up. So we need to go back to a true value system, and that's why it needs to crash, which is great. So what do we do when it does? When it crashes, what are we gonna do? Well, we need to figure that out. We need to do that right now, because when it eventually crashes, we'll have the systems in place to convert over to. And first beautiful, very fleshed out template would be, of course, the Ubuntu model by Michael Tellinger in South Africa. So go check that out if you've never seen that before. That is a value-based economy. And so that's a great way on a community, on a tribal level, to get the value and exchange and everything we need going. Now, on a personal level, there's a lot of amazing things that we can do. So the idea is that currency is current. It is electric, it's magnetic. And what is magnetic is when you are being your true, authentic self and expressing it in a way that then creates more, creates value, creates resources, creates something for humanity, for others, for the planet. And so that is what ultimately currency and value is. That's what becomes valuable. And it starts with us, of course. It's always that we have to change the micro to change the macro. And it's going to take all of us to then create something that's valuable, because you have something so valuable to offer to the world, and we have been told so much that we don't, and all that we think that we're worth is an hourly wage or nothing, and that we're deserving of nothing. And in reality, we are deserving of everything, and we are infinite, and we are valuable. So it's getting back to this new place where we start to believe that, and it goes back to self-worth. Right? And self-worth is, of course, connected to your value, and then how much you have, because how much you believe that you have is then what manifests into your life. So the self-worth is your personal value, and this value comes from how you relate to yourself in the world. So it really first comes back to, who are you? And of course you're infinite, but then what are you meant to do right now on earth to give back? What is your value to give? Because just like in tribal days, Native Americans, they each had a role in the tribe to give. And right now that's been taken away from us, and we've created that too as a part of this co-creative agreement. But it's been taken away, where we think that we're only just, this worker that clocks in, clocks out, and worth $10. And that's not true. So how do we begin to redefine it? And it comes into this place of an internal exploration, really, to get back to our natural self, because when we are our natural self, again, we're a current, we're a magnet, and then all abundance will come to us, and whatever we need will find us. So it's getting back to that place. And so how do you discover then what it is, like who you are, what is your gift? And I have another video that I'll put at the end of this video that's about going back to what you enjoyed doing as a child. That's like the first and foremost, simplest way to go about it, because what you did as a kid was untainted by any conditions, it was pure. And so looking to that, and it could be something specific. It could be like, oh, I just loved playing with dirt and building things out of dirt. I mean, it could be something like, I love to paint. But it might be something not specific, or something that you're going to have to dig into a little bit more. Like, I was the kid that got all the kids together to play at the playground. Well, that's something. That means that you're kind of like a social director, you're a leader. So begin to look into what it was, because without our inner child, that is our link to creativity. That is our link to inspiration. And we need to bring back that part. And that part has been almost successfully pushed out, even in me almost, during my school days in elementary and such. It's like, push out the child. And the reason why we're going to need this inner child is because the inner child is what creates us to be imaginative, and that's what's going to be necessary as we step into these natural roles of our value that we give, because this value that we give is going to be ever changing. Now, in the old, economy, we've been trained that you do one job for 60 years and you do it for your whole life. And now in the ever-changing world that we live in right now, we're realizing that things change overnight. Things are constantly changing, and change is something to embrace. So there may be this core that we link onto, whether it's like, for me, right? We'll use me as an example. I'm a bridge. I'm a connector, and I transmit in that way. So if I bring through, it could be like channeling, it could be information like right this second, and then I communicate it, I bring it to earth, I ground it in. And that can look like a myriad of different things. It can look like art, it can look like videos, it can look like retreats and sacred sites, it can look like me writing a blog, it can look like me connecting someone to someone else who needs to be connected to. It can look like a million different things. And it's important to know that whatever your gift is, it has so many, it's multifaceted, just as multifaceted and infinite as you are. And so as you explore it, it's nothing fixed, but you can start exploring it by something fixed. Like, okay, well, I'm a creator. I'm just super creative. And of course, everyone's a creator. Or I'm a connector. I'm a social coordinator. I'm this, I'm that. So it's defining and beginning to articulate in yourself what those things that make up your unique expression are. And then that will begin to define your value. Now, of course, the thing that's valuable, the thing that you are, you already know how to do, because you came into it in this life, and you've probably had many other lifetimes supporting that thing that you are in this life, because this is the culmination life, the transformation life. And so we've been given extra tools, and we have been not as disconnected in this life to remember these other times where we've acquired and developed these traits, these skills over lifetimes. It's like, man, if you are someone who's inquiring into spirituality, you've probably had lifetimes as like a monk that you can tap into. So we can tap into these things much more easily than we could in the past. I say that so that you know that you're supported, because a lot of people are like, where do I even begin? And once you get defined in it, then you can start tapping into all these times where you have been that. And then to expand on that even more, there is, of course, development. Because say someone is an artist, say someone is a painter, but they've never picked up a brush. Well, you can tap into your other lives, and that can get you pretty far. And that's actually like what happened to me. Just the first time I picked up a pencil when I was 16, I could draw perfectly, as far as just like creating something that already existed. So I was really good at that. So these things will already have kind of a kickstart, a head start, but then there's a development to it. So if you are, say, then an artist, you're going to need to practice. You're going to need to understand the different mediums. If you're a musician, you're going to need to learn how to play the freaking instruments, so that then you can channel, and then you can bring through the higher information, and you have the tools, you have the mediums through which source can come through. And also it'll help, as I said, with everything changing so much in our world, that if a category kind of closes up, whether it's inspiration disappearing, or whether it's something in the world that skill, that resource is no longer useful, you'll be able to have so many ways that your expression can move that it'll flow effortlessly into something else. So it's like a river, and I'm like looking at the river right now. That's where I got that inspiration. But it's like a river, because a river doesn't go, unless it's a dam, which we inflict, which is kind of an ego construct. But a river doesn't go, oh crap, the world doesn't accept my paintings anymore, I guess I'm just gonna stop flowing. No, it goes, I'm gonna carve out a new direction over here. I'm gonna go in a new path, in a new way. But it needs to know how to do that. You know, it needs to have that foundational understanding of how to express in a new direction. So that's another thing that's going to be helpful. So this is just a first peek into understanding value, understanding your self-worth and where it comes from, and how you are so valuable. You are worth everything, and you have something very important to give the world. Now it's just a matter of defining what that is, and then figuring out how to express it through different mediums and cultivating those skills, and then you'll be good to go. And the reason why this is so critically important is because the old ways, these old systems are crashing, they're cracking, it's not gonna work. And the new economy will be based on the value of people. That means the value of you, what you have to bring to the table, what you have to give. Not the orders that you're given to like do at the computer for 8 hours on a day, but actually what you generate. And it doesn't mean that you have to then become like some super entrepreneur where you do everything yourself. There can be like companies and other organizations, you know, that will do things for you too, that you can be a part of. So it's a matter of what you want to be a part of, and it's a matter of what you want to give. And it's going to be really important to start just getting everything going and thinking about this. That's really what this video is about. There's so much more to it, because all of this then leads to abundance, it leads to manifestation, and there's tools and tricks. So I'll get into that in other videos, live streams, etc. But this is just a first start so that you can start thinking about your own value, because you are treasured, you are wonderful. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you like videos like this, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next Tuesday with a new video.